Hey everybody! Today I'm making something that I have never made, and it's sweet potato biscuits. Now, I found this in an old recipe book, and I am sure that some of you may have heard of it. You may have even made some, but I have never made these sweet potato biscuits. So I am so excited to bring you this recipe today to show you step by step how it's done, and we're going to do it. I know that we're going to be successful. Can't, never could. How many of you have heard that saying? So I believe I can do this, and I'm sure going to give it my best shot. The first thing that we need to do is to combine our dry ingredients. And I have my bowl here and my sifter. And I'm placing 1 cup of all-purpose flour in my sifter. And now I'm going to add another cup of all-purpose flour. I'm just measuring it out over here, and we're adding another cup. So that's 2 cups of all-purpose flour. To that, I'm adding 1/2 cup of sugar. Now, the recipe calls for 3/4 of a cup, but I'm going to cut back on the sugar. You can add more if you want to. Next, we're adding baking powder. Notice this is baking powder, not baking soda. So we're going to add 2 tablespoons of baking powder. 2 tablespoons of baking powder. Next, we're adding 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. And we'll just put this all in our sifter and give it a sift here so that we are combining all of our dry ingredients. And we're just sifting that together, and we're going to set that aside. Next, the recipe calls for 1 stick of butter, which is 1/2 cup of butter. And I have my little rotary grater set up here. I froze my butter, and I've just taken it out of the freezer. So I'm just going to place it in here, and I'm going to start grating it with my little rotary grater. And you'll see, this is the neatest little thing. I just really like it. So you'll see our butter is just coming out. I know it's about the same color as the dish. I should have gotten a color dish so that you could see, but I'll show you in just a minute when I get finished grating it. If you used shortening, which I guess you could use a solid shortening, then you would just cut that into your flour. But I really like this. I love butter in biscuits, and so I'm just grating this. Y'all, this is so neat. It really is. And when your butter is frozen, it just grates so easily. Look at that. Goodness. So now I'm going to take a little, I think I'll take a little knife and just kind of rake this out. Get it all out, because we need it all in our biscuit recipe. See how much was in there? Just kind of leaning over here. So there we have that good butter that's already grated. Oh my goodness, that looks great, doesn't it? So now I'm just going to move this, set it aside, and bring back my flour. And I'm just going to put my butter in my flour and just start mixing it around with this little spatula that I have here. And if you were cutting in shortening, it would be like you would just cut your shortening in, and it would be like coarse meal. Well, this grated butter is like coarse, it makes it like coarse meal. So how easy and how simple is that? And I haven't even put my hands in it yet. It's so easy. So now we're ready to move on to the next step. Now we're ready to add 2 cups of sweet potatoes. Now I baked my sweet potatoes. I think it gives a richer sweet potato flavor than if you were just boiling them. But you can certainly peel a sweet potato or 2 sweet potatoes, ever how much it takes to get 2 cups of mashed sweet potatoes, and you could peel it, dice it, and boil it for probably 10 to 12 minutes. But I baked these sweet potatoes yesterday, and you want your sweet potatoes to be cold. So these have been in the refrigerator overnight, and the reason that you want them to be cold is that your butter is cold. And if your sweet potatoes are warm, then they are going to melt your butter, and you don't want that. So I'm just using my spatula to kind of cut this in. Remember, this is cold, so it's going to appear dry, although it's not going to be dry, but it's just because your butter is cold and your sweet potatoes are cold. This is going to be real interesting, dear friends, because I have never made these, and I tell you that up front. So I am very, very excited to find out and to see how these are going to turn out. I know that they'll be good because anything with sweet potatoes is good. So I'm just continuing to mix this up, get all the dry ingredients mixed in with the flour, and it's just like a kneading process. So now I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of buttermilk. The recipe calls for 1/4 of a cup of milk. It just says milk. And I've looked at some other recipes, and some people use whole milk, some people use buttermilk. But you know, I am a proponent of buttermilk because I feel like that it makes our foods tender. So when I can, I do use buttermilk. So now I'm just mixing this around. See, it's beginning to get moist. And incorporates all of the flour more easily when I added the liquid. So this is almost ready to start pouring out on our dough pad and kneading it a little bit and getting these biscuits ready to go in the oven. So I have preheated my oven to 450 degrees, and we are moving right along with our sweet potato biscuits. So now we're ready to start making our biscuits. So I'm just going to place my dough on this little dough pad, and I think I'll do just probably about half of it at the time, since I'm new to this. And I will sprinkle some more flour on top. And I'll just take my hands and kind of press it down. You know how to do that. This is just like making any kind of regular biscuits. Look at that. And I have on gloves. You know, when I work with sticky stuff, sticky foods, pastries, anything that's sticky, I like to use my gloves, and that way it doesn't get on my hands, and it just works a lot better for me. So now I'm going to put a little bit more flour right here. I'm getting ready to kind of roll these things out and cut some biscuits with you. So I've just kind of got it in a little rectangle here. Hopefully you can see this. It's got a little flour on it, which is fine. We'll just kind of dust that off. And I'm going to be using a 2-inch biscuit cutter. Now, I have a 2 1/4, but it certainly looks like a huge difference. But I'm going to make small biscuits because I don't know how long it's going to take these to cook or what it's going to look like. And I'm going to be placing them on parchment paper. So I've lined my little baking dish here, baking pan, with parchment paper. So now let's see if we can cut some of these biscuits. I like to go left to right. So we'll just see how this is going to work. Look at that. I think it's going to work pretty good. So let's just cut a few. Look. And I'll probably take a little brush that I have and brush these off and get the flour off of them. So, well, that I need to knead that together. I don't want my biscuit to be ugly. So, let's see, I might can get another one right here. And y'all, I can see the strings, the fiber in this, in the biscuits. So let me just kind of mix this up again, bring it back together. Just like that. And we'll cut some more. This is going to make a good mini biscuits. Some people might like to brush these with butter before you put them in the oven. The only thing that I would say about that is that they will have a tendency to brown on top. And so we have that many so far, and I've probably got another one here. But I'm going to do the other half and put them on here, and then I'll come back and show you before we put them in the oven. Our biscuits are ready to go in the oven. I took a little brush and kind of brushed off the excess flour. And so now we'll bake them and we'll see how they turn out. Okay, look at our biscuits. Don't they look beautiful? They have cooked for 15 minutes on 450 degrees. Now, I'm going to take them out and let them rest about 5 minutes before I open one up because they do have the sweet potatoes in them, and so that they will hold their shape and not look soggy or wet in the middle. I'm going to just let them rest about 5 minutes. Okay, our biscuits are done. Let's cut into one and see how they look and how they taste. They've been sitting for about 5 minutes. They feel so tender. Another way that this would be delicious, y'all look at that, would be to open them up like this and put them on a little roaster pan and put it in your oven and broil it and get it kind of crunchy, and then maybe eat some good jelly on it. But y'all look at that. I know it's going to be delicious. It just looks so pretty. I can see that now at a Thanksgiving meal or Christmas dinner or even a party. It just gives color and flavor, and it's going to be really, really good, I think. Okay, I think we were successful, don't you? I told you at the beginning that it's the first time I've ever made these sweet potato biscuits, but I promise you it will not be the last time. Now, I have a confession to make. I have already eaten one of these biscuits, the one that I opened up and put some butter on. I ate that, and it was delicious. And you could serve that with any meat, with any sides. It would be wonderful. But I also opened one up, and I turned my stove on to broil, and I put this one in the broiler. And now I've added some Burton Bramble's blackberry jam. And y'all, I know that this is going to be absolutely delicious. So if you need to order some jelly, want to order some jelly, I'll put the link, or jam, I'll put the link on there. You can look at their other products. Some of you use them, and you may need to restock. But I want to show you this. This sweet potato biscuit, I hope you can see me. I'm going to bend down here. This has blackberry jam on it. And I know that it's going to be delicious. So let's taste it. In fact, do you know what? I don't know, but what I would, if I was having a brunch, but what I would make, a making of these biscuits, I would open them up, put them on a big pan, put them under the broiler. You might put a little bit of butter or you might not. They've got a lot of butter in them. And then serve them warm, serve them hot, and have some jelly or jam out beside it. Y'all, this would go like hotcakes. It is so, so delicious. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you'll share this recipe because it is a new recipe to me. It's an old recipe, but it's new to me because I've never made it. But I sure made it today, and I think I did pretty good, don't you? I'll see you again really, really soon.